All right, man, welcome to today's episode of Strong Men in God, how to maintain your focus and reach your goals. So, we're coming to the end of January. Um, you probably had some New Year's resolutions. Maybe those are already fading a little bit. That can happen. So today we're going to talk about, scientifically based things that will help you maintain your focus and reach your goals. My name is Mike Frazier, MD, and we help men stay strong in God. All right, so wins from guys in the program this week: increased connection with their wives. Guys are having increased internal stability. For me, realizing what I can and cannot control, reminding myself what I want most. That's what we're going to be talking about quite a bit today. Because yeah, you feel better when you're focused on what you can control versus what you cannot control. So probably it's a new year thing. Hey, like new year, new you, new me. I'm going to change these things. Probably, if you're like a lot of the guys I work with and talk with, you have a lot of goals. Maybe some of those are physical. You want to lose some weight. You want to make more money, save more money, invest more. Maybe they're financial. Kind of talked about that. Maybe they're social or emotional. You want to improve relationships with your wife, with your kids, with your friends, with your family, with coworkers, with people in general, with your work people. You want to maybe start new habits. Maybe you want to break old habits. Stop drinking, stop smoking, stuff like that. So it can be easy to name lots of things that we're going to do to change, that we want to change. And that's fine. I think there's always, stuff that we could work on and improve. To be able to achieve a goal, two things really need to happen. So number one is a plan of some kind to reach that goal. So having the goal, then having a plan to do it, and then following through on that plan. That's pretty much it. And there are a lot of effective plans, a lot, right? So let's say you're wanting to lose weight. There's tons of different programs that you can do, tons of methods. It does boil down to basic principles of, eating less calories than you burn, doing some exercise to burn off the fat. But lots of variations of how that works, lots of social things that can help you stay motivated. And it can take some time to figure out what plan you will maintain and keep doing, right? Because it's the follow through, right? The follow through is the hard part. Lots of effective plans, follow through is trouble. So for the most part, the less goals you have, the better is the truth. So just went through The Science of Scaling by Benjamin Hardy. Excellent book. But yeah, it really talks about you can't scale something unless you really narrow your focus down. Lots of different quotes about this. Warren Buffett was quoted as saying like successful people say no to a lot of things. Really successful people say no to almost everything, meaning they're focused on what they do and they do that thing really well. So when you have a lot of goals, you can't really optimize for a lot of goals. I think it's fine probably to have like one goal per category, maybe something like that. Body, mind, heart, spirit. But probably not more than one in each of those. That's kind of four. It's hard to optimize for that. Although like within those domains, you're kind of doing things at certain times. I mean, you can kind of experiment, but probably best if you just have like one. And you say, okay, I'm going to work on that one this much, and then I can move on to two and three, right? Because look, it's easy. It's easy to get distracted from your goal. It's also easy to favor what you want now for what you want more later. And this is really what, especially with like weight, exercise, finances, even relationships, this is the big problem, is what we want now and what we want more later often conflict, right? So you want to have a six pack, and right now you're hungry and you want to eat the cookies in front of you. Okay, so those things don't go together. If you're eating a bunch of cookies, you will not get a six pack later. They're contradictory. I want to save more money, but I want to buy this new car because it's fun. Those two things can be contradictory. If you have a set amount of money, which we all do have some set amount of money, they can go against each other, right? And so that, to me, that's kind of the biggest issue, is giving up what we want now for what we want more later. So And I think it's important to acknowledge things that we want now, not pretend like we don't want those, but just remind ourselves, okay, like, do I want to eat cookies now? Yes. Do I want to be healthy and be able to have clean arteries later? Yes. Do I want that more? Yes. Okay, so now I need to go ahead and put that cookie away, find something else that still tastes pretty decent. I like for food, ranking things how they taste now, 1 to 10. I got this idea from Eben Pagan, how things taste 1 to 10 now, and then also how I feel after 1 to 10. So, the breakfast I have every morning, taste wise, it's a good protein shake. I like it. I'd give it like a 7 in flavor. I have an apple with it. I give it a 10 later. I feel great, have good energy. My lunch, a can of tuna, some spinach, mango peach salsa, walnuts. Taste now, probably like a 6. Doesn't taste the best, but it's definitely a 10 later. Like I feel really good the rest of the day, good energy. And so to me, it's kind of like finding those things that if you can find a 10 now and a 10 later, that's great, right? That's perfect. And it's within your your macros, your tracking, or stuff like that. Awesome. But, not always going to be like that. Sometimes you got to take the 5 to 10 now to get the 10 later. So, but the trick is, right, deciding what you want most, and taking some time to really understand that. And then the next thing that I recommend, and I'm glad I'm doing this podcast because I want to get into this habit, is visualizing, right? Visualizing that daily. Lots of good evidence. Visualization helps create the mental creation to create the physical creation, right? So visualizing what you want most. So for me, I'm going to use myself as the example. My primary goal this year is improved relationship with all my family and especially my oldest son. That's what I want most. Now, even like picturing that right now is kind of hard in some ways. And so the visualization I'm using for myself is enjoying time together with my kids and my grandkids, right? Because look, if I mess up this relationship now, chances are my son, his kids, and all my kids, right, won't really be happy that I am around their grandkids. That's the hard truth, right? If I don't have a good, strong relationship with them, they won't be excited to see me. So kind of what I'm visualizing is like my grandkids happy to see me and my sons and daughters, they're wanting me to come see the grandkids because they know I'll be a good influence and uplifting to them, right? Excited to be spending time. So that's my visualization, all right? So having that each day, right? Starting the day with that. Okay, this is what I want most, okay? So next, so that's what I'm using, but you can use that for whatever, right? Maybe that's you have $100,000 in passive income. Maybe that is you have that 6-pack, or you're able to run a mile in 6 minutes or whatever, right? So you're visualizing, oh man, I went through that finish line. I have that, I'm in that good shape. So you're visualizing that. Yeah. So next you focus on what's in my control and what's out of my control. So with some things, right? Like with making more money, starting a business, with relationships, there's stuff in your control and stuff out of your control. Even to some extent with weight loss and things, you may have to try some different plans, right? Even if this one works, this one doesn't, or maybe it's not quite getting where you want, right? What you want to focus on is what's in your control. What's most likely to get me the outcome that I want here, right? So for a savings plan, that might be, okay. And again, with savings, that one is particularly good because it's 100% in your control, right? What you spend and what you don't. So that's nice. But some things, there's elements that are in your control and are elements that are not. So with relationships in particular, right, there's stuff in my control and out of my control. I can control if I'm someone that is, maybe my grandkids would want to be around, maybe my kids would want to be around. So how will I do that? Kind of, I feel like God helped me understand there's kind of three ways I could engage with my kids. So one is encouragement, encouraging my kids. One is having patience with stuff that they're doing, maybe strategically ignoring stuff they're doing. And one is correction, right? So those are my 3 options, right, that I can choose how to respond in various situations. And I think for the outcome I want of having my kids, looking forward to having me with their grandkids, I need to be heaviest on encouragement. That's going to most likely get me the outcome that I want. right? And patience, and kind of minimal on correction, but still there because it's important. It's an important part of what we do as parents. So something I want to do as a daily habit is daily encouragement for each of my kids. And at the end of the day, I can kind of check in, So there's elements of the visualization and also the concrete, right? Right brain, left brain, visualizing, okay, this is what I want. Did I give encouragement to each of my kids today? Yes or no? So, that's kind of how you do it. And so, yeah, like if you're doing a spending plan, right? Okay, at the end of the day, what did I spend, right? Check in. Am I at my goal, right? All that. With business, okay, check in. What did I reach out to some customers today? Did I make some calls, right? The stuff that can get you there, the stuff that's in your control that can get you to maybe some of the stuff that's not totally in your control. So a lot of this is mental, right? That we're talking about, being able to visualize all that. There's some emotional. The visualization is what keeps the positive emotions that help you keep going through the hard times. Okay, like this is why I'm doing this. I want those relationships. I want that with my kids. I want that with my grandkids. I want that excitement there. Okay, I do want that, So it lets you see the value of your plan. Okay, I do want to save money. I do want to feel that freedom to travel. I do want that, right? I do want it. Because it lets you see the value of the pain you're going through. Because look, when you go talk to your wife and she, says something you did wrong for the day, or you go talk to your kid and they're just ignoring you, or you are, you didn't buy that lunch to try to save money, or you didn't buy that lunch because you're trying to lose weight, and you're like, man, it's painful. It is painful when those things happen. But if you can say, okay, like, why am I doing this, right? What's my why? Okay, I'm doing this for a reason. Yes, I wanted to eat that. Yes, I wanted to scream at my kid. Yes, I wanted to leave the house and not come back, right? But what do I want most, right? I want this most, so it's worth it, right? It's worth that pain. So take the time too. You got to tend to those emotions. Yes, it makes sense. Yes, it is hard. Yes, it does. It is not nice when your kids are disrespectful or rude or whatever, or your wife is not giving you the attention, affection, appreciation, sex that you want, right? It is hard. So giving yourself that, it is hard when you have to turn down a drink that you wanted to take. It is hard, right? So honoring yourself, hey, you're going through that pain, man, good job. Way to go. That's not easy, right? Give yourself that grace. There is pain. Pray for help in those moments too. Super helpful. So in summary, if you want to maintain focus, stick to your goals, number one, just have not very many of them. One is best, right? If you want to do one like per category, great. But have one that you kind of do first. So have a goal, visualize it each day. That, again, gives you the motivation to go through the pain to get the gain that you're wanting. Okay? Understand that difference of what you want most versus what you want now. Sometimes they're going to be contradictory. Okay? Focus on what you can control versus what you cannot. Okay? And then do that daily accountability and check-in at the end of the day. So if you do this, the chance of you succeeding in your goal are really high. So you just have one, you visualize each day, you understand what you can and cannot control, you do daily accountability, you tend to your emotions, you honor yourself for going through the pain to get what you want most, right? You're going to succeed. You pair that up with like having some people around you that are helping you stay accountable, maybe some coaching around the mental and emotional side of it. Like, chance of you hitting your goals are super, super high. So if you want to come do that with us, we'd love to have you. Come join us in Grounded Leadership Program. We're going to start it in February. It's only available to people that are on my email list. So visit strongmen.io, join our email list so you can get notified when we're going to start up. It's going to be next month. You'll get notifications of when that is in your email. So again, visit strongmen.io, join our email list. We will see you there, my friends. Stay strong in God. See you next episode.